We begin with a lament for Millicent the cat. Millicent the cat, my buddy for the past 13 years, who left us on Saturday after a short illness. If you're keeping track at home, that is a marriage, a father, and 2 cats lost in the past year. And that's heavy. And I'm working on an episode about all of that, which in the research is running deeper than I expected. And so I'm going to save that episode for next week so I can give it the proper go. And in the meantime, I don't want to leave you hanging. And so I'm going to do just a short episode this week. And I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to attempt to be semi-eloquent about H.O.P.E, hope. My time is short. This is the reality, all right? I work a regular job. I have obligations. And now that I'm trying to dig into deeper episodes again, your histories, etc., they just take more time. And I don't have more time to give them. So it's a difficult juggling act. And then you think you're going to dedicate a Saturday to the podcast. And suddenly you have an emergency with your cat. And then you lose your cat. And then you're kind of blotto for the rest of the day. It's just difficult. But I don't want to leave you hanging, and I do want to keep the momentum of Semi-Eloquent going. And so what I'm going to give you in a very quick episode, little teaser, little reel, is I'm going to give you what I'm calling the HOPE technique. And this is fundamentally a morning ritual. I'm not a big morning ritual guy. I'm not a big morning routine guy. I know a lot of your influencers, your lifestyle, your personal development influencers are all about the morning routine. Mine has more or less been dictated to me since I have resumed working a regular job. I do a regular job morning routine. But part of it, which I do dedicate to personal development, what I do dedicate to spirituality, is what I call the HOPE technique. Here's how it works. Because I've said before in the past, kids, that you can and should set intentions for your day. I did not come up with this. This has been around for thousands of years. But I'm smart enough to learn from people who are wiser and smarter than me. And a lot of those people approach the day with intentions. I can remember Jim Fortin, whose work I follow, talking about when he travels, he sets the intention for safe travel. Now, when he's walking up the door, he will run through the whole trip in his mind. All right, I am setting the intention right now for a safe trip to the airport, safe flight, safe landing, safe whatever we're going to do. Just set that, just put that out into the universe, okay? And so, in as much as I have a morning routine, it involves what I'm calling the HOPE technique. And usually what happens is I get up in the morning, I take a shower, start off the day. And in the past, a lot of you do this, and I do it too. A lot of you will wake up in the morning. First thing you'll do is grab your dang phone. Start the doom scroll. Start the dopamine factory running, and your mind is lost already. All right, you have missed this window you have in the morning to really be a little bit self-reflexive, to tune in to your own spirit, to turn into greater spirit if that's your bag, and just to take a slow and contemplative, intentional way to start your day. A lot of people will just grab the phone and start scrolling, and then they're off. Monkey mind begins. They might be in the shower, and they're doing 100 things in their head. They're running through a to-do list, and I got to do this for work, and I got to get the kid to soccer practice. And then I was watching that reel, and immediately they're caught up in mind. They're caught up in mind, and then they spend their day, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone, caught up in mind. not really thinking, not really being intentional, just letting life play them and sort of bumbling along through all of their responsibilities and then coming home at the end and wondering why it is that their brain is exhausted all the time. I live in a perpetual kind of monkey mind, and one of the ways to get out of that is to be intentional about your thinking, and one of the best times to do that is in the morning when you just kind of wake up. So eschew your phone. Do yourself the solid of waking up in the morning and not checking your damn phone. All right. Do not get pulled into the blue light. Do not get pulled into the immediate discharge of dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit. You lose this opportunity for intention. So I try my best to not look at the phone. All right. Then I get in the shower. And then instead of just beginning to ruminate and run away and let my monkey mind take over, I set simple intentions, and I begin those intentions with the HOPE technique. All right. H-O-P-E. And simply what that is you pick a word intention for every letter of the word hope. Okay. So my intention today is to be, it could be some version like happy, optimistic, patient, excited. H-O-P-E. All right. I used the word hope very intentionally. This is a technique that I've been doing in the past year since life has fallen apart and all those things I talked about in the intro happened. Hope is kind of something that I'm holding on to. All right. I am not in a thriving state here. I am in a coping state. And one of the things that gets you through coping is hoping. One of the things that pulls you through is a hope that things will get better, a hope that you can pass through all of this turmoil to reach the other side, and the other side being better. You're going through all of this to get yourself to a better place. And that requires a lot of faith, especially when you're going through it. And there have been times in the past year when it's just been bloody rough. And so what I have needed more than anything is hope. All right, so I've chosen hope as my root. All right, I've chosen hope as my baseline. What I'm going for in my day-to-day as I'm coping with all of this stuff is hope. All right, you could choose any word you want. All right, maybe what you want is to feel alive. Maybe what you want is to feel rich. And so you take that word and you make that your foundation. And then you pick a word for every letter of that root word that is your intention for the day. I intend to be today honest. I intend today to be open. I intend today to be peaceful. I intend today to be inquiring. I find myself a lot of the time still with a lot of trepidation about the future and frustrated by this not knowing when my contract ends, not knowing if I want to move somewhere and where and what I'm going to do and how that's going to work. And I can very easily go down the drain, man. I can go down the rabbit hole of negative projections, fearful projections, anxiety. I can get lost in the not knowing. And sometimes it helps to start off the day saying, well, today, instead of being lost in the not knowing and in the anxiety of not really knowing how this is going to play out, I'm just simply going to be happy. Generally speaking, just happy. I'm going to be here now, just happy in this moment, which 9 times out of 10 is just perfectly fine. The anxiety is future-based. And I'm going to be optimistic. All right, I don't know the future. I'm worried about the future, but it's just as easy to maintain a sense of optimism as it is a sense of pessimism. So I am choosing intentionally with letter O to be optimistic. With P, I'm going to be peaceful. I am going to allow. I am not going to get caught up in negative, anxious projections. I am going to be here in this moment, which is quiet for the most part, which is peaceful. And I am going to consciously maintain happiness, optimism, peace. And then with E, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be excited about this possible future. Instead of worried about it, instead of scared of it, I'm going to be excited about it. And I tell you, this sets a tone for your day. It does a couple of things. A, It shuts off monkey mind because you are thinking in a focused direction. You are being intentional with your thinking, all right? You're being intentional with your projections. And it pulls a positive energy in, or it pulls a peaceful energy in. Whatever energy it is you need, you can weave it into those intentions based on the word hope or the word whatever it is that you happen to need at this moment. It is a way of being consciously optimistic, intentional with your thoughts, and it grounds you. So instead of being in the shower for 10 minutes, going squirrely, having monkey mind, running through a to-do list or being upset about whatever happened yesterday, you are resetting. Right? You are exiting. It doesn't have to be the shower. Some of you don't shower in the morning. Some of you don't shower at all. It could be your morning walk. It could be your morning breakfast. Right? How many of us, and I'm guilty of this too, sit down to breakfast and begin the doom scroll? Don't even taste their coffee. Don't even taste their breakfast. Nothing. They're in the doom scroll. And most of us have been doing social media long enough now that we're hooked. It's hooking us like cigarettes, man. It pulls us in like an addiction. It is an addiction. So if you want to do the hope technique, but you're not a morning shower person, you can do it over breakfast, right? Set the damn phone down, shut it off, turn it over, put it on the other side of the room. Sit there with your coffee just for 30 seconds and pull up the word hope and say, what are my intentions today based on this root of hope that I want to experience, this root of hope that I want to feel? And your mind will slow down and it will become focused, and you will pull in a positive energy, and you will pull in a sense of grounding and a sense of intentionality. And that can change utterly your perspective on the day. Instead of bursting out the door to drive to work, you can do this in your car on the way to work too, by the way. Instead of bursting out the door on your way to work, all up in your head already, all flooded with dopamine, you could exit the house having been very quiet and focused and intentional. You can feel that peace come upon you. And then all of a sudden you're entering your day grounded in these 4 principles of how I intend to be today. Honest, optimistic, peaceful, excited, whatever it is that fits. Suddenly you're entering your day with this grounding and these intentions. And I think it makes you more balanced. I think it brings a certain amount of control, and I think it sets you up to have a better daily experience. And so what I'm giving you in this, what amounts to a bite-sized nugget, what I'm giving you in this reel is the hope technique. All right, think about it. Next time you get up in the morning, just take a few seconds, wherever you can find those few seconds, whether it's in your morning sabbatical or the shower or breakfast or the drive to work, the commute, whatever. Shut off all the stuff. Pull up the word hope or whatever word it is that resonates with you, and just attach a word to each letter, which is your intention for the day, and see the difference that makes to how your energy is, the difference it makes to how balanced you are, how gentle you feel, how at peace you can be. I think it makes a difference. It's made a difference for me. In the past year, it's really become a daily practice for me as I've tried to keep myself in the center. The eye of the hurricane, the eye wall. I have been trying real hard to cope, and then getting up and then not letting the circumstances of my life grab my mind and run off with it, but being very intentional about the thoughts I think in the morning and making them positive and making them intentions for the day. And you can use that Jim Fortin thing too. Whatever it is you've got going on today, you've got a meeting at work or an interview or something like that. I intend to do great at that interview today. I intend to play a great gig tonight. I intend to have safe travel to wherever I'm going. I intend to have a really fabulous date. I intend to play pickleball well. I intend to not lose my temper at that damn kid. I intend. And this brings a level of consciousness and intentionality to your day. And so the day doesn't own you as much as you own the day. It's a way of being mindful. And mindfulness is the antidote to the monkey mind, right? We get so wound up and wrapped up and spun around, and then we go kind of like the Tasmanian devil off into the world without any real pure intention. So the H.O.P.E technique is just a way into being a little bit more intentional, being a little bit more mindful about your day, which I think is great for your psychology, is great for your spirituality. Make things just a little bit more peaceful for you, okay? And if you want an extra aid to that, I got a few minutes. I'm going to make a music recommendation that deserves a whole episode. To be perfectly honest, I'm doing a disservice to the great Kathleen Edwards when I tell you to go check out her brand new record, Billionaire, okay? It deserves a whole episode because it's Kathleen friggin' Edwards. And she's great. And she's brilliant. And her music is fantastic. And I should be dedicating more time to it. But she released a new album a couple weeks ago. It is called Billionaire. It was produced by Jason Isbell. That's a pretty big deal. And Jason Isbell and his band play on it. And that's a little bit disappointing for me because my friend / acquaintance, or vice versa, Peter Van Alphen is, of course, Kathleen's live drummer and has played on most of her stuff, I think. And so he's not on this record, to my knowledge, but Jason Isbell's band is. That's a pretty big deal. And it's a Kathleen Edwards record. I mean, she is such a good songwriter. It is very much in the mold of her other stuff. It's in that Americana vein, the folk rock vein, your Sarah's, the Harmer, etc., and you know that's up my alley, man. Kathleen Edwards has a real tongue-in-cheek to her lyrics. She's very clever. She's very funny a lot of the time. Very honest. You know, in keeping with the introduction to this episode, on her last record, Total Freedom, is one of the saddest songs I've ever heard in my life. It's a song that I can't listen to. It's a song that I couldn't listen to even before my cats died. It's called Who Rescued Who, and it's about her dog. You know, that question, you got a rescue dog, but who rescued who really? That animal becomes a savior in your life. That animal becomes so important. In many cases, in healing a broken heart, companion animals have a unique ability to do that. And so she wrote this song about her pet, her dog who died. And it's too much for me because I'm a softie. I got a big heart and it's too much for me. That's on her last record. She's just such a good writer, and her new record, Billionaire, is really, really terrific. And I just want to point to some of her lyrics. I mean, Kathleen Edwards is such a gifted lyricist, and a lot of times the lyrics are funny, and a lot of times the lyrics are profound. For example, I give you the song Little Red Ranger. Boy grows up in the Sioux. Mom and Dad sure loved you. Hockey kid, weekends at the rink. You love the Leafs, even though they stink. Who's going to argue with that, kids? Who's going to argue with that? Driving your little Red Ranger all over LA. Someday soon you're going to call home to tell us that you're going to stay. Bird in a tree, if you look away, you'll miss the chance to see it fly away. Driving your little Red Ranger all over LA. Someday soon you're going to call home to tell us that you're going to stay. Bird in a tree, if you look away, you miss the chance to see it fly away. Live by the ocean, have a beautiful life. The Leafs still suck at playoff time. You can turn that, true as it is, you can turn that into kind of a melancholy, whimsical thing. She has this playfulness about her lyrics and this rawness about her lyrics. And one of my favorite songs on the album, arguably my favorite song on the album, is the song Need a Ride. And it's a biting political song. Kathleen Edwards, she's a smart woman. And she's been living in Florida. And so she's had firsthand observation of some of the stuff, what's going on down there. People get worked up about the strangest things. People get worked up about everything. People get worked up about an outdoor cat. People get worked up about a baseball hat. People get worked up about a uniform they never had to wear before. You get worked up about a truck I'd drive. Cry me a river. Now you need a ride. There's a bridge, actually. The bridge is potent. If you're like me and you've been paying more attention than you should to a lot of the heinous stuff that's happening politically in America, a lot of stuff that will just make you want to chew your own face off, stuff that will make you genuinely angry and dispirited by the depths to which a country can sink, to which people who are leading that country can sink. And I don't want to do politics on this show, but I see stuff down there that pisses me off, and I see stuff that so deflates my faith in the human spirit. Kathleen Edwards sees it too, and here's the bridge to Need a Ride. All the hippies used to march in the street, peace, love, and your autonomy. Now you're calling the snitch lines on your neighbors, while you're hanging a sign that says, we're all in this together. We'll lock the doors, close the stores, keep your dirty little kids indoors. Here's the kicker. I'm not going to turn away people who were welcome here yesterday. Bam! Bam! Even without those lyrics. Such a great song. I Need a Ride is probably my favorite song on the record. My other favorite song is the second song, Say Goodbye, Tell No One. Now, those of you who a few years ago really dug the Liz Stringer song that I talked about, Dangerous. Liz Stringer's so great, and her record a few years ago was terrific, and her most recent record is also terrific. But if you dug Liz Stringer, go have a listen, especially if you've not listened to Kathleen Edwards a lot. Go listen to Say Goodbye, Tell No One, because it has a similar vibe. It's very driving. It's very moody. It's got that kind of dark energy to it. And I can't say enough good things about Kathleen Edwards, and she's important in my story. She is important in the story of my year, the story of the past year of loss. Kathleen Edwards is a big part of it. And I went to see her in Hamilton last fall. She's playing with a full band, and Peter put me on the guest list, and I'm really still chuffed by that. Thank you, Peter. And I got to hang out with him a little bit and talk to him. Jordan Gauthier of YC Drum Company called him the great secret of Canadian drumming is Peter Van Alphen. Just a terrific player. Playing in a terrific band. And going to see Kathleen was the first time that I kind of stepped out. On my own. Well, there was an event going on with the friend group that I share with my spouse, and I walked the other direction. It was the first time that I didn't do the thing that we do. It was the first real independent move, and going to Kathleen's show was a kind of a pivotal moment. It's kind of a symbolic moment. I mean, she's got this ability, and it shows up on this record. She can do these extended outros, and bands, if you're listening, pay attention, because these songs, she did 2 or 3 of them at the show I went to, where these songs are kind of mid-tempo, maybe even a little bit slow, and they will just jam out the outro on 2 or 3 chords, but they have a way of turning that into such a moment. There will be songs that are emotional, songs that are a little bit anguished. Need a Ride is one of these songs where it's just in that tempo, and it's kind of a dark song, a sad, melancholy song, an angry song, and it's a very simple chord structure on the outro. But the way they build it up, the way they ramp it up, and it just gets bigger, it gets louder, and this organ comes in with the big chords, there's a guitar solo, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It doesn't get faster and faster and faster. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can feel the emotion in the room get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger with it. And then it reaches kind of a crescendo, and then it drops again. You know, it just dropped back down to guitar chords and drums and bass. And the way that they can suck that energy back down, it's one of those things that happens at a live show where you watch a band do this with the kind of skill and expertise that Kathleen's band has. And it's just a wave. It's just a wave that takes you up and then drops you down. And when that song ends, they'll do like a 2-minute outro. They'll run this thing. It swells. It just pulls you up in an amazing way. And then it drops out again. And then when the song ends, you just feel as though you've really you've really experienced something here. There's something really hot about a tight ending. The band I was in, Hiroshima Hearts, we used to hit some hard stops. That's cool. People love that for the tightness, but they love this crescendoing outro and drop for the emotional ride it takes you on. And when you get to the end of that, you're like, that is an experience that nothing else does that. And Kathleen Edwards is a pro at it, a master at it. Her band are masters at it. Need a Ride does that. And it's maybe one of the reasons why it's kind of my favorite song on the record. It's just a great song, period. But then it just takes you on this ride. And live, it'll be amazing. And I'm telling you, all you indie bands out there that are looking to build a live show with moments, a live show with stuff that just grabs you and holds on and is memorable, build an extended outro, right? Build an extended outro in a song that is moody and melancholy and just repeats a chord structure, but keep making that chord structure bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just so effective, and it really, really works as an emotional experience. This song does that. The record is great. If you have not listened to Kathleen Edwards, do so. Especially if you're Canadian, even though she lives in Florida most of the time now. Canadian gem, right? Canadian gem is Kathleen Edwards, and catch her on tour. She's going to be playing dates. I hope she does something that I can get to. A lot of American dates. I'm not too keen on that, but hopefully some Canadian dates too. And if you get a chance, go see her. And check out the new record, Billionaire by Kathleen Edwards. And when you get up tomorrow morning, or today if you're listening in the morning, you haven't done it yet, take 30 seconds, run the H.O.P.E technique. All right, set your intentions for the day and see if that helps you maintain a kind of equilibrium, if it brings you into a kind of emotional balance, if it, dare I say it, helps you self-regulate. I'm going to hope I can get this out, and I'm sorry that it's not the in-depth episode that I intended to do. It, again, I hope, will be worth the wait next week. Until then, do take care of yourselves. Go listen to Kathleen Edwards. Good things happen when you put yourself out there, and thank you for putting up with kind of a quick one, kind of a reel this week. But the reality is, until this is my full-time job, I got to do what I can do with it. So thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting. I will talk to you soon.